What's going on, y'all? Welcome to a special edition of Say It in Four, where we give you our four unpopular opinions about a ton of different topics. This week, we're going to circle back around to one of our pressing topics, COVID-19, y'all. Got our first nurse in New York City, one of our first patients to take that
Wow.
vaccine, Sandra Lindsay,
Exactly.
Queens Hospital.
Right.
How do you feel, Chanel?
Wow, first off, big shout outs to her. I mean, I know the vaccines, they're focusing more on healthcare workers and people that work for those care facilities. I think that's amazing that she took the first step. I just pray that the vaccine don't do nothing to her. And, she a sister on top of that. And we can't be losing a sister. So big ups to her. Oh, my God. Wow. And I really hope this is progress for us because I'm so over COVID-19. I'm over 2020. Throw it all the way away. Y'all feel me on that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just anxious to know why she wanted to be the first person to do that. You know what I mean? Like, that was a major step.
That was intentional. That's a narrative that they're pushing, I feel like, because like over half of the Black American population are pretty much like, no, I'm not taking that. So they're trying to win over trust or whatever by having the first person be Black, the doctor who issued the vaccine was Black. I'm not feeling it.
Right. I mean, they gave her the vaccine there. Like you said, I commend her for doing it. But I think, as you said, there's a lot of people in the community who feel a certain type of way about the vaccine. And they say for the vaccine to be effective, you need to have at least 7 out of every 10 people, total population-wise, to get what we call herd immunity to take effect. So I think we still have a long way to go. I think it's great that she did it. It sets a milestone. I know I have some relatives that are working in the medical field, but I think a lot of us are still skeptical to taking this vaccine. I know I am. I'm probably not going to take it for the longest time. But what about you, T?
Well, I mean, if you look at her face, right, she looked like she was afraid. So look at this clip real quick right here.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she was pressured to do it. Yeah.
Now, I agree. She does not look comfortable. I do agree. She does not look comfortable right there taking that vaccine.
Right.
But do you think this is the right step in the right direction for everybody? Probably even more so for the Black and African American community, people of color?
Well, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, this is something that we've been asking for. We said, hey, look, do you guys have any type of medication that we could take for COVID? What's the solution? What's the answer? So if they're saying, hey, we're going to introduce this vaccine, but then now the Black people want to be afraid. I think not just Black people, just a lot of people are afraid to take the vaccine. Look, you want to fix this issue. You want to go back outside. You don't want to wear the mask anymore. Take the damn vaccine. That's it. Take it.
Is that really the solution, though? Because we know, based on the science, that you can't cook up a vaccine in less than 12 months and then expect people to have confidence in that.
That's what's known back in the day. But this is also 2021 now, right?
When you're dealing with the FDA and creating vaccines, and I work in the healthcare industry, and I know when you're doing making vaccines, it takes a long time to make it. So to say in a year, even with current technology now, that's a little too soon.
They may have proven that it's effective, but it's not enough time. They haven't proven the same.
Right. Well, we'll see, right? We'll see.
Yeah.
So if Sandra don't fall out tomorrow, then it will.
At least she didn't get the allergic reaction like everyone
I don't think she'll fall out, but I think the long-term effect could be whether she has personal complications or this thing starts to spiral out, because I've been paying a little bit more attention to the news, and at least from the news I've read, it said that the the executive office pushed this through to the FDA. The FDA, the head of the FDA, actually had 2 options: to step down or to push this vaccine through. His option was to not push it through, but he didn't want to lose his job, so he did what the president Donald Trump asked him to do and pushing this forward. So, do you still have confidence in this vaccine from somebody who probably said they didn't want to release it, but just because the FDA now approved it because they were pressured into it, that it's going to be valid and legit? No, I don't think so. And I probably
okay. So what do you feel like the solution is? Because there's no medication that you can take that's just going to wipe it out, right? So what do you think? You just going to wear masks for the next 5 to 10 years until we figure out, if it's going to work out?
Not 10 years, but this was fast.
Right, you can't.
Okay, so but like what? So if they gave maybe about 25,000 people the vaccine, then you would feel comfortable to take it.
No, after
no,
a period
I don't
of
think.
time.
No.
So, and what's the time? What's the time?
At least a year. At least a year. I gotta
Okay.
make sure you're good with no craziness. At least a year. Yeah.
Because remember, they still
No
have
side effects, no reactions, and all that.
Right, no zombie. Because
No,
I mean,
also-
think about American history though, because you had a lot of these sicknesses and diseases back in the day. I mean, look at Ebola. Ebola, people was like bleeding from the inside and out, and that took like 3 years to get rid of that. You have SARS and Zika virus. You have all these things that we've went through as a country, and now that we have the COVID-19, I feel like maybe 2022, I think things would be kind of like weaning off. It will kind of get back to normal.
We have people who feel like 50-50 on one side of the aisle, right, about whether they want to take this or not. I don't know if you've seen, but we just had a guy in Costco's out in Los Angeles yelling over the microphone, telling people this is not a real thing.
Guess what? They told us 15 days to stop the curve. Then they told us 30 days. Then they told us
One person on the table.
It's on the table.
So he's standing on a bag of Doritos.
Remember, they went back and they tested
So he's standing in the middle of the store, Costco, on top of a stack of clothes, in the middle of a pandemic, trying to convince people that the coronavirus isn't real. I mean, what do you think the truth is to this?
So-
Man, it's so deep. It's so deep when you think about it, because there's a movie I like. It's called The Truman Show, where he was living on a set and he thought it was reality, but it wasn't. And I always correlate, is that how we live in this country? Is everything that we see is real? Like, people like him have those kind of opinions because some people feel like this whole thing is fake. This is a way to bring fear and to control the people. Let's come up with a disease and let's say that it's deadly and it causes all these things just to get you to conform. Because every single time something like this happens, this is where the government, they take away more of our privileges. So people like him not speaking out, there's people that have those feelings.
Yeah, and I feel like he's just losing it. He's just like, yo, I had it. We've been dealing with this since March. Like, yo, I'm done with it.
Like, first, everybody's going to have their opinion. So regardless of him speaking his mind, like, people are not going to fully believe him. And yeah, you're right. He's probably bugging. He's bugging.
If we think he's bugging, then, right, so then what do we believe is the truth to this? Where do you think the ball was dropped in this whole thing with COVID? Because we're in a pretty nasty state right now.
we don't, nobody knows the truth. Let's call it for what it is. Nobody knows the truth. We don't know whether this virus is really that dangerous. Yeah, I lost an uncle from COVID, and I don't know if it was from COVID, but that's what they said, it's COVID, right? If the news tells you, CNN, hey, COVID is causing all these things, you're going to believe what you see. So for me, it gets to a point where it's like, when they start pressuring people and mandating that we have to get the vaccine, then I guess I'm not going to really have a choice. And then if I don't do it, they can either fine me, put me in jail, and even if they put me in jail, they're going to give me the vaccine anyway. So either way, you're still going to have to conform.
No, I totally agree with you now, and I think something's going on. If you were to ask me, yeah, something's happening. If you ask me if I believe that this thing is real, I do believe that it's real. Homeboys talk about it's not real. I don't believe him. I believe everything that's happening. So we're losing people like Debo and etc. If you guys don't know Debo, he's from the movie Friday, but there's a lot of people who are just dying, and I've never seen this amount of people die like this in a short amount of time.
Right. It's crazy.
Like if you go on Facebook, you go on to Twitter, you go on to Instagram, you see, oh, RIP, granddad, dad, mom.
Yep.
Constantly.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Yep, it's sad. It's sad.
Now, Bill Gates recently said that we probably won't return to normal life until about 2022. First of all, who is Bill Gates to give us this type of information? He don't got any type of medical expertise.
Right.
And why are we waiting? Why
he has the money, right?
How does he know?
Why he's so invested in it?
Well, he got the money.
Because his money.
Or he can kind of put his 2 cents into it, and people will believe him because he got the money.
So that's all that's required. You just need the money, and don't matter about any type of experience, background.
Yeah, but like Jeff Bezos, he's using his money to go up into the sky, right? This guy, Bill Gates, is using his money towards medicine, and that whole ordeal. So that's what he's doing. And people are listening to him because he got the money. He's backing him. Yeah.
Well, he wants to make money. He stands to reclaim that #1 spot for the richest person. But with this vaccine situation, I mean, he even in 2014, he tried to do like GMO bananas and have the studies done in Africa and all that, and that whole thing fell through. Like, I don't trust him at all. He just
I don't trust him.
Heck no.
He stepped down from the board of Microsoft like in March, and then all of a sudden he's like now pushing all these vaccines and all of that too. So I don't. Yeah,
he might be part of the problem too.
He is.
But I said that the government, they do have documentation that a trial or experiment was done prior to COVID happening in, I believe, 2017. But that was the most recent, I guess, the most recent trial or experiment that they did in regards to a type of pandemic response to see if, the nation or United States or countries were ready. And they say Donald Trump had that playbook. Donald Trump did not follow that playbook. Why and how did we get here if that was left behind for us to have some type of idea where to go from this for something like this?
You mean like when President Obama left the
right? So he left him. He left behind the task force, and they say Trump removed
dismantled it as soon as he got in.
Head of that division, that task force. You got putting people like Jared Kushner in place. You've got 2 doctors that are heading your task force. I mean, what kind of leadership is that to lead a nation when you got something this nasty out here taking lives? And where are we now? 300,000 or somewhere around there?
All his advisors, they're all family members, people he know, business relations, all this type of stuff. So yeah.
And that's not fishy? I mean, is that not
absolutely fishy? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why he's up out of here now.
And I want to go back real quick to Bill Gates. In 2012, when Homeboy was talking about that something is going to come, right? And we were Fauci was making some references, I believe, too, a couple of years after. He was doing a TED Talk. So then, boom, 8 years later, after Ebola, stuff like that, what happens? We get the coronavirus.
Right.
Now, if you look at this clip that we're about to play for you guys right now, he's talking about that COVID is not going to go away until 22.
Because we can see that this will end, and you don't want, somebody you love to be the last to die of coronavirus.
When do you think life will fully return to what we thought of as normal back in January? No masks, no social distancing, no other protective measures necessary.
The sip?
That's how you take a drink.
Right. Certainly by the summer, we'll be way closer to normal than we are now.
He chuckles.
But even through early 2022, unless we help other countries get rid of this disease and we get high vaccination rates in our country, the risk of reintroduction will be there. And of course, the global economy will be.
So when you look at that, that's crazy to me.
Shady. Yeah. All the way shady. But that's what they do. They smile on our faces. We're the lab rats to them.
And they sip their coffee. Coffee, they laugh in front of you, in front of the whole world on TV, right? But this is where we are when it comes to coronavirus and where the ball was dropped. I hope, as Miss Lindsay, the nurse who took that vaccine, said, I hope this is the beginning to the end of probably one of our worst nightmares in most recent memory, because a lot of people's lives have been lost. A lot of us touched personally, you should know, to mention, and it could get uglier if we don't fix this going into this nasty winter here, I think, at least.
Before we close up, let me ask you, Josh, in the beginning, did you think that COVID was serious or real? Did you think that it was real?
I would say I thought there was a possibility that it was crazy, but I didn't really think it was like, this thing that was going to shut down the whole country. No, I'll be honest. I didn't think we were going to get to.
So you thought it was fake in the beginning?
I wouldn't say it was fake, but because we know, I have colds, I have allergies, so I think it was legitimate. But I didn't think it was something that was going to stop the world, because when I started hearing the word pandemic, we don't use that word every day, right? So when I heard my mom using it, when I heard my brother using it, these are people in the medical field. It's like, what do you mean a pandemic? The world's going to stop because of something? But
And how do you feel now about it?
We're in some dark place right now. We're in a dark place as a nation. We just turned over the hands of power from one president to the next. transitioning, that going through that process, and we don't have an answer. I don't even think the vaccine is the answer, to be honest with you, because even when you initiate the vaccine, you still have to do testing and experiment on the relapse or those type of things that
That's
happen.
what they're doing right now. That's what they're doing right now.
How are they deferring those numbers from the people that already have problems now? Because initially, when the COVID tests went out, there was a problem. The reason we're in this delay right now is because there was a problem when the initial tests to even test for the vaccine out. They had a 3-part test that caused problems. So if you was having issues at the beginning, how do I believe you and have trust in you now?
Yeah, well, you got to try it out to see if it's going to work, hands down. Because if somebody don't be brave enough to do it, then we're not going to have the answers. And now, how do you feel? Like, how did you feel in the beginning compared to like now?
Like when they mentioned COVID, I was like, yo, I believed it. But I didn't think the impact of it was going to be as big as it is now. And like I said, when I lost a family member from it, it hits different. So now it's like, I think that's when I really, really took it serious. I always carry hand sanitizer, even on a regular, even pre-COVID. I've always had hand sanitizer. I'm always like taking care of myself. Like if my son is with me in the store, he keeps his hand in his pocket. Like, don't touch nothing. I've already been like that. But now it's just like become the norm. It's like, I got to have a mask. The frustrating part is when I get to a store and I walk in, I'm like, crap, I gotta go back in the car and get my mask. Like, it's been killing my vibe sometimes.
Yeah.
But honestly, COVID's not a joke. It's real. And a few people, I do want to say RIP to a few of my friends that just lost their parents from COVID. So I do want to say RIP and my condolences goes out to everybody that's lost a relative.
And Netta?
Yeah, in the beginning, I believed it, but didn't take it serious. One, because they was telling us not to. At first, what they say, oh no, there's no need for masks. You got to touch something and it lives on surfaces and this and that, blah, blah, blah. And now look, then all of a sudden came out, oh no, you got to wear a mask. I remember, at my job, like we weren't even allowed to wear masks because they were following the CDC advisories and rules, and then all of a sudden, like, so they have been not trustworthy from the beginning, so it makes it tough to trust now.
And last question, if you guys can put a year or a date to it, when will all of this end?
I mean, I feel like businesses, projections, and things like that, certain industries, the way they are planning and moving forward, they're talking more like summer 2021. So honestly, I don't know who to believe, and I don't think anyone knows.
And now, if you can put a time frame on it, when do you think it'll end?
I think 2022. I think now that we're getting the vaccine, I think we're making the right steps, but I'm thinking 2021 is still going to be issues. So I'm going to give it like summer, fall 2022.
I'm thinking the end of 2022. The end of it. Yeah, as well. And Josh?
I would say for myself, might be a little far-fetched, but I would say I don't think it's going to end at all, because we're in a space now where it's probably gotten to a point where it's like the flu now, right? So the flu comes and goes every season. We get it. Some people get it doesn't matter what season, you can still get it. So I don't think it's ever going to go away, but there's going to have to be some heightened precautions around the way people maintain themselves when it comes to sanitation and washing your hands and cleaning up and things behind you. But, with that being said, I think we definitely have an outlook going forward. And, we just hope that everyone keeps themselves safe, especially through the holiday season here. Take care of yourself, wash your hands, and make sure, you're doing all the right precautions that you would do any other time. But we thank y'all for tuning in, and we'll see y'all again.